Europe has finally done it. After more than 20 years of hesitation, Brussels is pushing ahead with two major trade deals, one with Mercosur in South America, the other with Mexico. On paper, they're about tariffs and quotas. In reality, they're about Europe's future. Let's start with Mercosur. Negotiations began all the way back in 1999. For 2 decades, they stalled. Farmers in France and Ireland blocked progress, terrified of South American beef and poultry. Environmentalists worried about the Amazon. And Brussels, true to form, let the talks drag on. But then came Donald Trump. His tariffs on European exports, his blanket 10% duty, they changed everything. Suddenly, diversification wasn't a buzzword. It was survival. Today, Mercosur and the EU together represent almost 800 million people. Trade between them already tops 260 billion euros. Mexico adds another 100 billion. With these new deals, tariffs on 91% of EU exports will fall to 0. German cars, Italian machinery, French wines, all gaining massive new markets. For Europe's farmers, Mexico is the real breakthrough. Tariffs as high as 100% on pasta, apples, and dairy will disappear. In return, Latin America gets easier access to Europe for coffee, tuna, tequila. And yes, beef and poultry. But let's keep perspective. The quotas Brussels negotiated amount to barely 1.5% of Europe's total beef production. And yet, France is furious. Farmers with tractors on the streets, Macron warning of unfair competition. He argues that South America plays by looser rules with cheaper labor and lower standards. But here's the contradiction. Macron calls for European sovereignty, for strategic autonomy. Yet when Brussels takes a real step away from US dependence, France becomes the obstacle. Protecting cattle farmers may win him votes at home, but it weakens Europe's hand abroad. These trade deals go beyond tariffs. They open government contracts to European firms, enshrine labor and climate standards, and pledges to protect the Amazon. Above all, they send a message. Europe will not remain hostage to Washington or Beijing. Approval is not guaranteed. The Council, the Parliament, even national governments must still sign off. France could rally allies to block the Mercosur deal. It has happened before. Think of de Gaulle vetoing Britain's entry into the EEC in the 1960s. But the stakes are higher now. Inflation is biting. Growth is weak. Europe needs markets. It needs autonomy. So the choice is clear. Either Europe embraces this chance and proves it can act strategically, or it collapses once more into paralysis. 20 years of hesitation have already cost Europe influence. Another failure would cost credibility. The world is moving fast. China is already deep in Latin America. The United States remains unpredictable. Europe can no longer afford to wait. The Mercosur and Mexico agreements are not perfect. They never will be, but they are Europe's step into the future. Late, but decisive. If you found this analysis helpful, give the video a like, subscribe to Western Relations, and visit westernrelations.com for more deep political analysis from Europe's perspective. Thank you for watching.